Good morning, dear students. A warm welcome to all of you for our today's digital session for the subject Science and Technology, Section A. In our previous session, we have completed with the explanation for chapter number 7, lenses. We have completed up to the uses of concave and convex lenses. The small topic is remaining, that is about the persistence of vision, that we will complete, and then we will begin with the discussion of textual exercise, additional questions and numerical examples. So I will request all of you to be present with a textbooks and a pen in your hands. Let us begin with our first topic, persistence of vision. Look at the word persistence. Vision means whatever you can see, and persistence means staying there for some amount of time. Now you all know that you can visualize, you can see any object because the eye lens which is present in your eye, it creates the image of the object on the retina, which is the light sensitive screen, and this image is on the screen on the retina as long as the object is in front of you. This image of the object, it disappears as soon as the object is taken away, but it does not happen instantaneously, and the image, it remains imprinted on our retina for 1/16th of a second after the object is removed, and the sensation on the retina, which is your light sensitive screen, it persists for a while. Means even if that object is removed from your side, you can feel that that object is there for 1/16th of a second, and this is known as persistence of vision. Some photographs I have put related to persistence of vision. If you type on the Google Net n number of photos related to the topic, you will be able to see. Now towards the end of the chapter, some small information about the retina we are going to study. You all know that the retina, which is a light sensitive screen, it is made up of many light sensitive cells which are shaped like a rod and like a cone. Means two types of cells are there, shaped like a rod, shaped like a cone, and each one of them have a different function. The rod-like cells, they respond to the intensity of light and give the information about the brightness or dimness. So they respond to the intensity and they give the information to the brain. The conical cells or the cone-like cells, they respond to color and give information about the color to the brain. What does the brain do? Brain, it will process all the information which is received and you will be able to perceive the actual image of the objects. At the same time, rod-like cells respond to faint light also, but the cone-shaped cells do not, and hence we perceive colors only and only in bright light. This is a type of reason. As you have studied last year, whatever information is received by the eardrum, by the outer ear, that is processed by the brain and you can hear the sound. Similarly here, whatever information is received by these two types of cells is processed by the brain and then you can see the actual image of the object. The conical cells, they can respond differently to red, green and blue colors. I have told you that these cells, they respond to colors. When the red light, it falls on the eyes, the cells responding to red color, this red color, they get excited more than those responding to other colors and you get the sensation of red color. Now there are some people around you, they lack the conical cells responding to certain colors only, and hence these people, they cannot recognize those colors or cannot distinguish between different colors, and such persons are called as color blind persons. They are not actually blind, but the conical cells, they lack some conical cells which respond to certain colors, and then they are not able to recognize those colors, or they cannot distinguish between the different colors, and such persons are called as color blind. And apart from not being able to distinguish between different colors, their other eyesight is quite normal. This last topic is extremely important because a paragraph can be given in the exam, and based on that paragraph different questions can be asked, or give reasons are there ahead. When we move ahead with the textual exercise, you will come to know. Without wasting our time, we will now start with our textual exercise. Explanation of the chapter is over. All of you are requested to refer page number 92. The first question is, match the columns in the following table and explain them. Now, explanation does not have any meaning in match the columns. So, column number 1 is the name of the eye problem. Column number 2, what is the actual defect? And column number 3 is how that defect can be corrected. Farsightedness, looking at the word you come to know, far away object can be seen clearly and can be corrected with the help of convex lens. Now on this slide, I have directly placed the answers for you. In the textbook, you can mark the answers and then write in the notebook. Presbyopia, you know it is the old age problem and can be corrected by using a bifocal lens. The last one, nearsightedness, word itself tells you nearby object can be seen and can be corrected by using a concave lens. I hope you have matched the columns. Question number 2. Draw a figure explaining various terms related to a lens. This I have given ahead in the additional questions. Not I have told you to draw the diagram, but different definitions I have covered. So we move to question number 3. At which position will you keep an object in front of a convex lens so as to get a real image of the same size as the object? Draw a figure. Here you have to refer the table which is given on page number 83. At which position will you keep an object in front of a convex lens? So lens is convex. You want to get the real image and same size. So if you look at the chart, to get the image of the same size, you have to position the object at 2f1. So accordingly, you have to draw the diagram, a ray diagram for object position at 2f1 for a convex lens, so that you get the image of the same size as the object. You have to draw the ray diagram in the notebook. Not only for this, all the other positions of the object you have to be prepared with the ray diagrams. We move on to the next question, that is question number 3. Very important. Give scientific reasons for the question which decides the quality of your paper. Be ready with pencils. Question number 4a. Simple microscope is used for watch repairs. You know that in a simple microscope, a convex lens with a small focal length, it is used, and that convex lens can give you a magnified image about 20 times larger than that of the object, and hence the watch repairers and all, they will be able to repair the minute parts of the watch. In the exam, they can ask a HOTS question. Instead of watch repairs, they can ask jewelry repairers or jewelry makers. They also have to go through the minute parts of the gems and all to repair or to fit them. So the first point, when an object is placed within the focal length of a convex lens, that is a simple microscope, a virtual, erect and magnified image which is about 20 times magnified of the object is obtained on the same side of the lens. This should be your first point. Now, whichever way you want to express, you can express the point. The main part covered here should be the state of the image, that is virtual, erect and magnification 20 times. This is very important. Next, in your own words, hence the watch repairer. Now here it is about watch repairs. Can see the minute parts of a watch without having any strain on the normal eye. You know, a magnifying lens, the object which is small in size can be seen in a larger way, and then you know, for the repairing it can be very useful to the watch repairer as there will be no strain on his or her eye. Here we complete with question number 4a. Now our next give reason is question number 4b. Just now we have studied the topic. One can sense colors only in bright light. Refer page number 91. The last paragraph, which is the last paragraph to end with the chapter in your textbook. Your first point should include that the retina in your eye, now you have to write our eye, is made up of many light sensitive cells which are shaped like a rod and like a cone. Directly you cannot write about what the conical cells do or the rod shaped cells do. So the first step should be that the retina, it is made up of two types of cells that you have to mention. So that is the first line of that last paragraph, page number 91. The retina in our eyes is made up of many light sensitive cells which are like a rod and like a cone. Second point, rod shaped cells, they respond to what? They respond to the intensity of light and give information about the brightness or dimness of the object to the brain. In continuation, the marking is there in the paragraph. The conical cells respond to the color and give information about the color of the object to the brain. This is point number 3. I hope all the 3 points you have got in the paragraph one after the other. Rod-like cells, now leave one line in the textbook and then go ahead with the marking. Rod-like cells respond to faint light also, but conical cells do not, and thus we perceive colors only in bright light. Up to bright light, everything is given in the textbook. Once again I will tell, page number 91, last paragraph, first line is your first point. Continuation, you have the second point, then the third point, then leave one line in the textbook and then you will get point number 4. Question number 4c. We cannot clearly see an object kept at a distance less than 25 centimeter from the eye. When you have studied about human eye, I have told you the minimum distance of an object from a normal eye at which it is clearly visible without causing any strain on the eye, that is 25 centimeter. So that should be your first point. For the marking, refer page number 87, green colored block. Page number 87, you can see 2 blocks are there. Last block is of pink color. Do you know that is removed out from the syllabus? Above you have a green colored block. There your first line is your point number 1. The minimum distance of an object from a normal eye at which it is clearly visible without stress on the eye is called the minimum distance of distinct vision. This part you have to underline. Continue marking. The position of the object at this distance is called the near point of the eye. For a normal human eye, the near point is at 25 centimeter. Point number 2, I hope you have marked. Point number 3, you have to write on your own. If the object is placed at a distance less than 25 centimeter, because they have asked us, we cannot see which is kept at a less than 25 centimeter. What happens? The ciliary muscles which hold the eye lens, they are not able to adjust the lens, thus creating a strain on the eye and it cannot be seen distinctly. This is your point number 3. Now you can write point number 3 in your own words. Main point number 1 and 2 covers your entire theme And then what happens if your object is at a distance less than that particular value? The muscles cannot hold the eye lens. They are not able to adjust the eye lens, and hence a stress is created on the eye and the object cannot be seen clearly. So your 4th point, hence an object should be placed at 25 centimeter or more distance to get a clear image of it on the retina, that is the screen of your eye. I hope there is no doubt with question number 4. Give reasons. Now, as I have told you, these are the points which I have given from my side. Apart from this, if you want to add anything related to the topic which you feel that this should be added or this part is not required, you are welcome to do the changes. Only the main part, the main reasoning part should be covered. Question number 5 is cancelled because it is related to the removed part of the syllabus. Explain the working of an astronomical telescope. You know, on page number 90, telescope entire part they have removed out from the syllabus due to the pandemic. So question number 5 stands cancelled, omitted. We move on to the next very important question. Question number 6. Distinguish between. Keep your textbooks open. Farsightedness, nearsightedness. Page number 88. First, I will mark the points for this defect and then for nearsightedness. So, farsightedness you can see is the second defect on page number 88 towards the end of the page. First point should highlight what is the defect. So, mark it carefully under the heading farsightedness or hypermetropia in the textbook. Point number 1. In farsightedness, the human eye can see faraway objects clearly but cannot see nearby objects distinctly. Point number 2. Second last line of that paragraph. Image of the nearby object is formed behind the retina. Point number 3. You can see there are 2 reasons for farsightedness. Do not write both the reasons. Shorten and write it. Eyeball flattens due to which distance between the lens and the retina decreases. And point number 4 you will get on page number 89, the very first line. This defect can be corrected by using a spectacle with convex lens. Nearsightedness, same, page number 88. It is the first defect. The first line below the heading, page number 88 below the heading nearsightedness. In nearsightedness, the eye can see nearby objects clearly, but the distant objects appear indistinct. Then you have to leave 2 more lines. Below that you will have image of a faraway object forms in front of the retina. Then 2 reasons which are there, club and shorten the point. Eyeball elongate so that the distance between the lens and the retina increases. And last paragraph of that defect above farsightedness, the paragraph which is there, first line. This defect can be corrected using a spectacle with concave lens. So farsightedness, nearsightedness they have given as a distinguish between, but I have told you in different ways this question can be asked. Diagrams can be given. You have to identify which defect it is. Then what are the reasons, where is the image formed, how it can be corrected, or they can take any one example from the class that there is so and so child in the class who is not able to see the things written on the board but can write clearly in the notebook what defect the child is facing from, what are the reasons for the defect, how it can be corrected. So these are the different ways in which this topic can be asked in the exam. So page number 88 and 89, 90 are extremely important from the examination point of view. Prepare it in all the ways along with diagrams. Next, give a distinguish between question number 6b, concave lens, convex lens. All of you are requested to refer the very first page of the chapter, page number 8080. Page number 80, you can see the paragraph under lenses. You can see the heading lenses in pink color. Third paragraph, very first line for the concave lens, it is the first line is for convex lens. The lens which has the spherical surfaces which are puffed up outwards is called a convex lens. And third line you will see the lens with both the surfaces spherical on the inside is called a concave lens. So the first point should cover what is concave lens, what is convex lens. Now concave lens, you know, it is called as diverging lens. Convex, it is called as converging lens. That should be your second point. Third point, you can see in the same paragraph where you have marked the first point, you will get about the concave lens. This lens is thinner at the center as compared to its edges. This lens is thicker near the center as compared to the edges. And fourth point is additional. You know that concave lens is used to correct myopia or nearsightedness, whereas convex lens is used to correct hypermetropia or farsightedness. These are the 4 points which I have given from my side. Any other point if you want to add, you can add over here. But the main point here is that what is concave, what is convex lens, and what it is used for, to correct which defect, then which type of lens it is, which one is converging, which one is diverging. There you can add, it diverges the light rays from the source or it brings together at a point. So accordingly you can add the things on your own. With this we complete with question number 6, that is distinguish between. Now we move to question number 7, that is the last textual question. After that we will start with additional questions. Question number 7 is very simple. What is the function of iris and the muscles connected to the lens in the human eye? Now you know, you have studied in the structure of human eye that the dark fleshy screen behind the cornea is called the iris. The color of the iris is different for different people, so imparting the color is one function, and there is a small hole of changing diameter at the center of the iris. So the main function is to control the size of the pupil and thereby regulating the amount of light entering the eye, and second function is to give color to the human eye, to impart color. And what is the function of the muscles? Very simple, to adjust the focal length of the eye lens is the function of the muscles which are connected to the eye lens. Apart from this, they can ask you about the retina, they can ask you about the pupil, they can ask you about the cornea. So be prepared with the paragraph about the information on human eye. With this we complete with the discussion of textual exercise. Now we proceed towards additional questions. If you see in the textual part, many questions which are important are not covered. So I have taken that under additional questions. Our first additional question is, define the various concepts related to lens. Definitions can be asked directly or they can be asked under MCQs. So the first one, now go on marking very quickly, page number 81. All the definitions are given one below the other, so I will not waste much time. I hope you have copied the question. First additional question. The first definition, center of curvature. Clearly you can mark in the textbook, page number 81, first line. The centers of spheres whose parts form surfaces of the lenses are called centers of curvature of the lenses. If you want, you can add over here, a lens with both surfaces spherical has two centers of curvature, C1 and C2. Second definition, continue marking radius of curvature. The radii R1 and R2 of the spheres whose parts form surfaces of the lenses are called the radii of curvature of the lens. All the definitions are on page number 81, one below the other. Just put a tick in the textbook, then you can write in the notebook. Third, optical center. There only you have below the radius of curvature. Below principal axis you can have optical center. The point inside a lens on the principal axis through which light rays pass without changing their path is called the optical center of a lens. And this definition, focal length, you will get on the same page above the figure 7.5. You can see the last definition. The distance between the optical center and principal focus of a lens is called its focal length. Apart from this, you have the definition of principal axis. You have about principal focus that you can also write in the notebook. The second additional question, very important, is which can be asked in the exam for 3 marks. All of you refer page number 82. So the additional questions on page number 81 are over. Page number 80 already they have given in the textual part about concave and convex lens. Page number 82 you have an additional question. State the rules for drawing ray diagrams for formation of an image by a convex lens. You have studied about the rules last year when you had studied about mirrors for drawing ray diagrams for the formation of image by spherical mirror. I hope you remember. So this answer is also clearly given on page number 82. You can see above the activity, try this. You have all the 3 rules along with 3 diagrams. So just for namesake I will read. Rule number 1, when the incident ray is parallel to the principal axis, the refracted ray passes through the principal focus. Second rule is besides it. When the incident ray passes through the principal focus, the refracted ray is parallel to the principal axis. Third rule, when the incident ray passes through the optical center of the lens, it passes without changing its direction. Diagrams should be drawn very clearly. Incident ray, the arrow should be in this direction, reflected ray, so the position of the arrows and all should be very clear. Now it is a convex lens, so look at what lens we have used. So all these small things you have to take a note of. Our next additional question lies on page number 84 towards the end of the page. Now on page number 84, 85 you have different formulae that I have included under additional questions because they are extremely important for solving the numerical examples. Give the lens formula. Page number 84, second last line of that page. Give the lens formula. The answer is given there itself. The formula showing the relation between distance of the object small u, distance of the image v and the focal length f is called the lens formula, and it is given below as 1 upon v minus 1 upon u is equal to 1 upon f. You only have to remember this formula. I hope you have marked carefully. Page number 85. Give magnification of a lens. While solving numerical examples, you will come to know how extremely important these formulae are. Page number 85. Below that green colored block, you have this answer, magnification. Magnification due to a lens is the ratio of the height of the image h2 to the height of the object h1. So magnification is equal to height of the image upon height of the object. Magnification is denoted by capital M is equal to h2 upon h1. Or one more formula is there. Magnification due to a lens is also related to the distance of the object and that of the image from the lens. So magnification is distance of the image upon distance of the object, that is v upon u. So don't write all these things in the notebook, only remember the formula and the definition. No need of writing. I have just included it under additional questions. The next additional question lies on the same page, page number 85. What is the power of lens? Here also remember the formula. No need of writing everything in the notebook. The capacity of a lens to converge or diverge incident rays is called its power, denoted by capital P. The unit of power of a lens is diopter, capital D. P is equal to 1 upon small f, that is focal length in meter. So 1 diopter is equal to 1 upon 1 meter. Remember this formula and the unit. I hope all the formulae on page number 84, 85 I have covered. Page number 86, I have told you just now when we ended up with the textual exercise that each and every part of the eye retina, pupil, cornea, everything you have to study. So page number 87, you have an additional question. Draw a neat label diagram of human eye. The important things, remember to mark. One is the cornea, lens, pupil, iris, ciliary muscles, optic nerve and the retina. This diagram can also be drawn for you in the exam and they will ask you to label the parts. Next is question number 7. Write a short note on presbyopia. The other two are already covered under distinguish between. So presbyopia was left out. Refer page number 89. Clearly you can see the heading of presbyopia. Start marking. All the points are to be marked one after the other. Generally, the focusing power of the eye lens decreases with age. The muscles near the lens lose their ability to change the focal length of the lens. The near point of the lens shifts farther from the eye. Because of this, old people cannot see nearby objects clearly. Sometimes people suffer from nearsightedness as well as farsightedness. In such a case, bifocal lenses are required to correct the defect. In such lenses, the upper part is concave lens and corrects nearsightedness, while the lower part is a convex lens which corrects farsightedness. Now here they can ask you with an example that so and so person is old and is not able to see the nearby objects clearly. Which defect the person is facing from? How that defect can be corrected? Or this paragraph can be given to you and based on the paragraph different questions can be asked. On the same page towards the bottom you have very important additional question. Give the uses of concave lens. Now all the uses are given one below the other on page number 89. You can see the heading towards the end of the page. Use of concave lenses. A to E, 5 uses are there. Any 3 you have to study. I have mentioned all the 5 on the slide. Any 3 you can select and study it. Next, last additional question is write a short note on persistence of vision. Answer you will get on page number 91, second last paragraph. Page number 91, second last paragraph. You can see the heading persistence of vision. Point number 1. We can see an object because the eye lens creates its image on the retina. Point wise I am telling, the image is on the retina as long as the object is in front of us. The image disappears as soon as the object is taken away. However, this is not instantaneous and the image remains imprinted on our retina for 1/16th of a second after the object is removed. The sensation on retina persists for a while. This is called persistence of vision. I hope there is no doubt with the additional questions and the textual exercise for you. Some amount of time is left. So let us begin with the numerical examples, textual numerical examples. Question number 8, at least we will complete the first one. Very simple it is. Doctor has prescribed a lens having power plus 1.5 diopter, D means diopter. What will be the focal length of the lens? So you have to find focal length, power is given. What is the type of lens and what must be the defect of vision? HOTS question, high order thinking. So what focal length you get as the answer, whether that focal length is positive, negative, then only you can detect the defect and which type of lens it is. So let us as usual write what is given. Power 1.5 diopter. To find focal length, that is small f. So formula just now we have studied while additional questions were given. Power P is equal to 1 upon f in meter. Now here be careful, it is focal length, it is not focus. So it should be a small f. Many a times in hurry you take capital F and unnecessarily you will donate the marks to the examiner. So don't do that. It is small f. So P is equal to 1 upon small f. Substitute the values. You want the value of focal length. So F is equal to 1 upon P. that is 1 upon P is given as 1.5. If you shift the decimal point in the upward place, that is numerator, you will get 10 upon 15. 5 2s are 5 3s are. So when you divide 2 by 3, you will get 0.66 recurring, that is 0.67 meter. Now you can see here focal length you have got positive. So when focal length is positive, which type of lens it is? It is a convex lens. So you have to mention focal length is positive, hence the lens used is convex. And they have also asked what must be the defect of vision. So when convex lens is used, then the defect of vision must be hypermetropia. See the type of question, how it is asked in a tricky way. It is very simple. Just application of a small formula and you get the answer. Now any other power value they can give, and if you get the focal length in a negative value, then you will say that the lens is concave and then the defect of vision must be nearsightedness. I hope up to question number 8a you have followed. So in our next session, we will continue with the discussion of textual numericals. Then we will discuss the activities for this chapter, chapter number 5, heat, which is remaining. Numerical examples for heat are quite lengthy, so I will take towards the end of the portion. And in our next session, we will complete these 2-3 numericals which are left. Activities of both the chapter we will complete, and then we will, if possible, start with a new chapter, chapter number 8, metallurgy. So I request all of you to at least go through the initial part of chapter number 8, metallurgy. Thank you, dear children.